How'd you get started in the game, man?
Oh man, just listening to classic MCs, man. This is when they had like mixtapes, and these kind of mixtapes wasn't DJ mixtapes. These were crew tapes, like Cold Crush battling Fantastic Romantic 5, and hearing B.wanted and the Zulu Nation tapes and all that stuff. My boy Cool C had a cousin that used to come from the Bronx with all these tapes, so I got turned on to it. I was in the 6th grade when I started rhyming. You know, I was a little kid, and I mean, it was just fresh. So, you know, it just was like, it affected me like a bug, and I just was like, yo, this is dope. The 2 turntables and rapping to catch the groove and catch the beat, I mean, and then like different break beats and all that kind of stuff, and just, you know, grooming myself. You know, it wasn't really so judgmental back then. It was like, how could you be interested in like having these backyard parties, people's parties? We was neighborhood celebrities. You know, people have backyard parties. You would see rappers lined up around the gate waiting to get on, and if you was whack, the crowd wouldn't even check for you. But when we got on as a crew, they would surround the turntable, so we knew we had something there, you know what I mean? And I was just affected. We was playing Studio 109, you know what I mean, rocking live at the roller skating rink at Studio 109 and battling with, you know, we was rocking with dudes like the Love Brothers, and Rakim was in the Love Brothers, and you know, Superstar from Amityville, you know, and yeah, man, nice. Always, he was one of the best.
That's my family right there.
He was one of the best. I always saluted him. He was one of the dopest MCs in the game and in the hood. Like,
actually, he got some new stuff he did too.
That's what's up. And then, you know, then you had, you know, cats like Salam and Ramel.
Oh,
you know what I mean? The
gods.
the Victor Moore, Robert Moore, the brothers.
Wow.
You know, we had real MCs that knew how to, you know, put that mic and some work on that mic. You know, it wasn't just about, you know, we was wearing trappers and shit like that. We wasn't right. You know. It was that kind of stuff. So it was interesting to be able to create a style and a flow that was individually yours, and, you know, not sounding like nobody else. And
exactly.
You know, and I just started, you know, kept going and just kept going and kept going. And then I saw where I could take it out into other cities, and I started battling cats. I was battling when dudes were still trying to figure out what rhyme to say. You know, I was in other cities winning belts and trophies and all that stuff.
Nice. Official right there.
Yeah. So
where'd you grow up at, man?
I was born in Nassau County, and then I moved out to Suffolk County, you know, and I went to North Babylon High School.
L.I.M.Y. Stand up.
You with my brother then, Devon.
Yeah.
DJ Devon, Infinity Machine.
Oh, absolutely.
That's brother right there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you know,
Shorty Black.
Yeah, I went
Shell
to
Council.
Oh, absolutely. I went to school in North Babylon. I graduated North Babylon High School, you know, and then I went right into the game. I had a record deal right after the year after I got out. My first record was in '86.
Okay, and what was the name of that joint?
That was Come Out Fresh with Supreme Force. That was on Nia Alim on Atlantic Records, and I had a deal, and I've been rocking ever since.
All right.
Yeah.
Now you bounced around. I believe you was with the Flavor Unit at one time. You want to speak on that?
Yeah, I did. What I did was I got approached by Tretch to do a record on 1903 called Hot Potato, and it was actually originally it was Tretch and the Rotten Rascals on the record. So when I came in and I did my verse, he thought that. He's like, yo, we gotta do this one back to back. You know what I mean? So we did Hot Potato together, and that's what got me signed to Flavor Unit. It was a performance in Jersey. I think it was like a big, it was like a hall. They did a big performance there, and I did the song, and I think that's what got them really popping. Everybody was asking, who's that? You know, I always made it a point when I studied Caz, Kurtis, Blow. I started studying initially individual male solo black vocalists. You know, Teddy Pendergrass, Al Green. You know, that whole individual solo artist. Well-rounded. Yeah, and then I seen guys like Kurtis Blow. You know, I singled out Grandmaster Caz because I noticed he was a leader amongst his crew. You know what I mean? And then I noticed cats like you know, Run DMC and those dudes. And then I started figuring that if you're gonna be on a record, you gotta make such an impact that people never forget you. So that was what I did. I felt like, okay, everything to me is, it may not be a battle verbatim, but I treated it like that. So that way, that aggression, everybody was like, MCs have an aggressive flow. You know, I wasn't really trying to rhyme all smooth and all that. That wasn't really me. I mean, I did it before, but I just wanted to really bark my rhymes, because these dudes I handpicked. You know, when I got asked to do songs, I only picked the albums or the records to do with guys that could challenge my ability. So I rock with Kane, and I rock with Tretch, and I rock with KRS-One and guys like that. So, you know, I didn't really want to make records with guys who really didn't make an impact vocally. So that right there was how I decided to do certain records.
Then, from what I understand, you did some work with DITC.
Yes, they actually produced the first Freddie Crazy Like a Fox was done by them, and Flavor Unit didn't like it because they said it was too dark. So I really kind of took Boom back to Jersey, you know, in 92, 93, and it was from the Bronx. And then when I took it over to Flavor Unit in Jersey City, she was like, oh, it's too dark, you know, so I had to reproduce the whole album myself and give them melodies, and, you know, because I always knew how to play instruments and stuff like that from just having I can't read music, but I know what I want to hear, so I knew how to play guitars and drums and all that stuff. So it was just dark. So what I did was I kept both versions and released both versions later on with Fat Beats, and I thought the DITC version was incredible. You know, they did it. I mean, I had I had Showbiz, Law Finesse, and Buck Wild in the studio, and me and Big L used to sit in and argue in the studio. It was the argument was who was better between G-Rap and Rakim.
Who is better between G-Rap and Rakim? Tell us.
I don't know. I mean, we used to say he said Rakim, I said G-Rap. You know what I mean? And that was the argument, was always, you know, who was better between G-Rap and Rakim. And this little dude would just go till he got on my nerves. I go, get out, man. You know, and he would get out, and they'd come back, and I'd give him a hug, and we laugh about it and stuff like that. But, you know, those sessions, we always used to pile. I remember when I did Money in the Bank.
Yes, sir.
When I did Money in the Bank, we were just all in the studio just vibing, and then Large Professor, you know, put this beat on, and Akinelli was in there. Man, G-Rap was in there, Ant Live was in there. It was just all of us in there. Eric B would lock down a session and just leave it open. You know, that's how I did my first album. He said, yo, Fox, just work, man, work, keep working until, you know, Rakim show up. And then, you know, he would, you know, probably never show up sometime, and I'd get a whole 2-3 songs done in one night. And then Eric was just like, yo, just make sure you use the time. I don't want to waste the money if he ain't gonna come tonight. Then you know, that's how I did my first album, actually.
And from what I understand, Eric B put you on.
Yeah, he did. He actually put me on bigger than what I was already on. I did a record with Ulti Fresh Productions was my first joint, and they got me my first deal on the major. It was a subsidiary of a major, which was Atlantic Nia. But then when I met Eric, you know, that was as a result of Alvin Toney saying, yo, man, Eric B want to meet you. And I was like, all right, whoever that is, you know what I mean? And then they flagged me down one day on Straight Path. I was coming through the block. And
Wine Dance, stand up.
Yeah, for sure. The family